First contact, first laugh. Captain Samuel Wright stood tall on the bridge of the U.S.S. Horizon, his hands clasped behind his back as the massive alien vessel hovered silently outside the viewport. It filled the screen like a storm cloud forged from black glass and shifting metal. It shimmered with unfamiliar hues, an architectural impossibility held aloft by propulsion science humanity hadn't begun to imagine. Lieutenant Olivia Martinez adjusted her headset, fingers dancing across the console. Receiving transmissions, Captain. Multiple frequencies. Translation is in progress now. Good, Samuel said, his voice level. Around him, the bridge crew moved with tense efficiency. They had trained for this moment for years, but nothing could prepare them for the reality of true first contact. Seconds ticked by. On screen, the alien ship hovered in silence. Translation complete, Olivia announced. They're requesting to speak with Earth's leaders. Samuel gave a small nod. Tell them I'm authorized to represent Earth in initial contact. Request permission to dock. Minutes later, the answer came, permission granted. Within the hour, a diplomatic team was assembled. Samuel, Olivia, and Dr. Alan Pierce, Earth's foremost xenobiologist, boarded a small shuttle and departed for the alien vessel. Silence ruled the flight, broken only by the occasional beep from instruments as they approached. What are we calling them? Dr. Pierce asked finally. They call themselves the Vidians, Olivia replied. Translated loosely, it means those who assess. Great, Samuel muttered. Space accountants. As they neared the vessel, its surface shimmered again, moving and reshaping, as if the metal itself were alive. A section peeled open like a giant iris, revealing a docking bay that swallowed the shuttle whole. Moments later, they stepped out onto the deck of the Vidian ship. It was eerily silent. Lights pulsed from unseen sources. Tall figures waited. The Vidians were unlike anything in the human imagination, 7 feet tall, clad in gleaming exoskeletons with multi-eyed faces arranged in perfect circular symmetry. No mouths. No noses. Just shimmering plates and the strange, almost hypnotic movement of their vibrating membranes. One stepped forward. I am Commander Zether of the Vidian fleet, the alien said, his voice a thrumming vibration through the air. We have come to assess your species. Samuel bowed slightly. Captain Samuel Wright, United Earth Defense Force. We welcome you and hope for peaceful relations. They were escorted to a long chamber, where humans and Vidians sat across from each other. A low hum filled the room. The Vidians moved with mechanical precision, their exoskeletons catching the strange interior lights in rhythmic patterns. Your planet has resources we require, Zether stated. We will take them. Resistance is not advised. Samuel kept his expression neutral. Perhaps we can discuss a mutually beneficial trade. Zether tilted his head. Trade? We do not trade. We take what is necessary for Vidian survival. Tension thickened. Dr. Pierce whispered something to Olivia, who stifled a short, nervous laugh. Every Vidian froze. Their color shifted from metallic silver to deep crimson. What was that sound? Zether demanded. Samuel blinked. A laugh. Humans do that sometimes. Stress relief or humor. Explain humor, Zether ordered. Before an answer came, alarms blared through the ship. Vidian guards surrounded the human delegation, weapons raised. Your unpredictable behavior signals threat, Zether said coldly. You will be contained until resource extraction is complete. Samuel didn't move. We came in peace. But we will defend our planet. They were marched back to their shuttle under guard. As the docking bay closed behind them, they saw dozens of smaller Vidian ships launching toward Earth. On board the U.S.S. Horizon, Samuel strode to the command deck and activated the secure channel. Admiral Simmons, the diplomatic route failed. They planned to strip the planet. Understood, the Admiral replied. Earth defense protocols are live. Tell me we learned something. Samuel paused. They were disturbed by laughter. Lieutenant Martinez laughed, and it disrupted their entire delegation. Keep digging, the Admiral said grimly. Because they're coming. Hours later, news came from Mars, the colony under siege. Vidian ships slicing the surface with devastating energy beams. Samuel ordered the Horizon to engage. In the battle's chaos, communications officer Ryan Baker accidentally triggered a media feed, an old Earth sitcom playing on a secure entertainment channel. Suddenly, the Vidians faltered. Ships swerved. Formation broke. Keep that playing, Samuel barked. Baker hesitated. Sir, it's reruns of The Oddballs. Then get me every season, Samuel snapped. We might be onto something. As the Vidians pulled back, the human crew stared in disbelief. Olivia turned to Samuel. Sir, they don't understand humor. Dr. Pierce nodded. Their society's built on precision. Symmetry. Efficiency. Laughter may be cognitive poison to them. Samuel looked at the screens, where Earth loomed larger with every mile. Admiral Simmons, he said into the comm, I think we found their weakness. And it's hilarious. Operation Punchline begins. 3 weeks had passed since the first failed diplomatic contact with the Vidians. Earth's cities were under siege, its skies haunted by angular black ships that carved into the planet like surgeons with no regard for the patient's survival. Despite valiant resistance, humanity was losing. But deep underground, in a secure facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, hope was being born, in the most unexpected form. Dar. Amelia Green had watched the same footage more than 100 times. She sat in the dim glow of a small lab filled with data screens and analysis tools. Every time she saw it, the same thing happened. The Vidians, upon encountering comedic stimuli, wavered. Ships drifted out of formation. Energy weapons ceased firing. Pilots made erratic maneuvers. You're going to burn out that replay button, Admiral Frank Simmons said as he entered, arms crossed. Look at this again, Admiral, Amelia gestured to the paused screen. Right here, right when the laugh track starts. The ship stutters. Their formation breaks. And it happens every time. Simmons watched, eyes narrowed. You think humor is affecting them neurologically? I think it's worse. Their brains aren't wired to process unpredictability. Their society is rigid, ordered. No jokes. No randomness. Laughter is a cognitive disruptor. It scrambles their control systems like a virus. He grunted. So what, you're saying we fight an alien war, with comedy? Yes. That's insane. It's also our only advantage. An hour later, Operation Punchline was officially authorized. Amelia was joined by a small but specialized task force. Leading it in the field was Captain Samuel Wright, now considered both hero and heretic by the Global Defense Council. Alongside him, Lieutenant Olivia Martinez returned to communications, and 2 new figures joined the team, Paul Harris, a stand-up comedian turned reservist who lost his home in the initial invasion, and Sofia Rodriguez, a linguistic anthropologist who had studied Vidian cultural broadcasts. In their first meeting, Sofia outlined her findings. Vidians don't understand metaphor, subtext, or irony, she said, projecting symbols across the table. They value directness and efficiency. Their language has no idioms, no casual slang. This is a society that literally cannot comprehend a knock-knock joke. Paul raised an eyebrow. So they're like accountants, but interstellar and angry. Amelia nodded, and we're going to exploit that. Within days, Paul was aboard a retrofitted fighter ship equipped with a high-powered communication array and one mission: test the effect of targeted comedy on the battlefield. The location, Luna Base. The moon had been battered by recent assaults, its defense grid mostly offline. 5 Vidian ships were approaching. Earth Command was ready to evacuate. "Remember," Samuel said over the comms, "this is a test. If it goes wrong, we abort." "Roger that," Paul replied, adjusting his headset. "Time to save the moon," with a mic. As the Vidians approached, their formations locked into perfect wedges. Paul activated the array. "Attention Vidian fleet," he said cheerfully, "what do you get when you cross a spaceship with a clown? Absolute chaos. Ha!" He added a laugh track for effect. On the horizon, the ships began to twitch. "Formation is unstable," Olivia reported. "They're wiggling." "Sir, they're wiggling." "Keep going," Samuel said. "How many Vidians does it take to screw in a light bulb?" "None. They'll just vaporize the house and declare it optimal lighting." The laugh track blared. The Vidian's path bent sharply. One ship clipped another. "Target the lead vessel," Samuel ordered. Laser fire from human ships struck true. The lead Vidian ship exploded in a cascade of fire and strange violet light. The others fell into disarray and retreated. "We did it," Paul breathed. "We actually did it." "Bring him home," Samuel ordered. "We have a new strategy." Admiral Simmons was already waiting in the command bunker when they returned. "I want every comedian, every sitcom, every joke book we have," he said. "We're building a new kind of arsenal." Engineers began designing comedy pods, small drones that could attach to enemy ships and broadcast randomized humor. Soldiers were trained to incorporate jokes into radio chatter. And Paul, now a war hero, began recording dozens of routines tailored to trigger maximum disruption. Sophia found another weakness. Vidian communication systems are too efficient. No buffers, no tolerance for deviation. If we flood them with wordplay and puns, it's like throwing sand in their engines. Operation Punchline expanded rapidly. The next major test would come soon, a massive Vidian fleet moving to destroy Earth's last orbital defense ring. Samuel paced in the U.S.S. Horizon's war room. "We can't rely on brute force. The fleet's too big. But if we can confuse their command structure, we create chaos," Amelia finished, "and chaos is what they can't process." Hours later, dozens of comedy pods were launched ahead of the engagement. They latched onto Vidian hulls and began streaming a carefully curated playlist of Earth's silliest humor, slapstick sketches, sitcoms, prank compilations, and stand-up monologues. Samuel watched the fleet on screen. At first, nothing happened. Then, disorder. Vidian vessels staggered. Communications flooded with static and erratic signal tones. Ships collided. Targeting beams misfired. "They're breaking apart," Olivia shouted. "Move in," Samuel roared. Human ships surged forward, coordinated and precise. Laser fire tore through the disorganized Vidian fleet. Within 20 minutes, the entire armada was retreating. Humanity had won its first major victory. As the command center erupted in cheers, Admiral Simmons simply said, "We're not just fighting to survive. We're fighting to laugh." Samuel nodded. "And the Vidians won't know what hit them." The War of the Wisecracks. The success of Operation Punchline reverberated across Earth like a long-overdue exhale. For the first time since the invasion began, people smiled again. Not just in relief, but in unity. Across every continent, communities gathered to share jokes, laughter, and hope. Stand-up comedians became national heroes. Meme makers were drafted by military intelligence. The line between frontline soldiers and stage performers blurred until it vanished entirely. But the Vidians did not retreat quietly. A month after their humiliating defeat at the orbital defense ring, they returned with greater force and darker intent. Gone were the sleek, angular warships that had once floated in perfect silence. Now came jagged vessels bristling with new technology. Worse still were the new units they deployed, the Mind Shield troops. These elite soldiers were unlike their predecessors. Each wore a heavy black helmet designed to block frequencies used in human humor transmissions. Their armor was thicker, their movements more erratic, more human. Sofia Rodriguez studied footage of them for hours. "They're learning," she told the team grimly. "They've started mimicking our unpredictability. But it's crude. Forced. They're trying to imitate something they still don't understand." "How long before they figure it out?" Samuel asked. "Long enough," Sofia said, "if we escalate." Lieutenant Olivia Martinez stepped forward with a new proposal. "Sir, what if we stop relying on broadcasts? Recordings can be jammed. Algorithms can be countered. But what if we take the jokes directly to them, live?" "Live?" Simmons echoed, raising a brow. "Yes, sir," Olivia nodded. "A new operation. Operation Stand Up. We embed trained performers in squads. Visual gags, physical comedy, unscripted antics. The Vidians can prepare for punchlines. They can't brace for improv." Amelia grinned. "Visual confusion. Disruptive mimicry. Irony delivered with a rocket launcher. It's so crazy, it might work." And so the new phase of the conflict began. Across Earth, combat units underwent absurd retraining. Soldiers learned the art of pratfalls alongside marksmanship. Comedians were taught hand-to-hand combat. Drill instructors barked orders like, trip, roll, shoot. Now fake sneeze and duck behind the inflatable chicken. In the heart of this madness stood Sergeant Kyle Morris, a career Marine with a deadpan sense of humor and an unwillingness to quit. "We're going to make history," he told his new squad. "And it's going to be absolutely ridiculous." His team's first test came at Pacific Ridge, one of humanity's last major coastal strongholds. Vidian dropships began pouring in. Civilian evacuation had already begun. Kyle's unit was the last line of defense. As the Vidians advanced in perfect formation, Kyle gave the signal. It started with two soldiers fake arguing in the middle of the street. One threw down a rubber chicken. The other responded by pulling out a pie and throwing it into the air. The Vidians paused, scanning, trying to calculate a response to something utterly meaningless. That pause was all it took. Hidden soldiers sprang from behind overturned buses and piles of debris, using real weapons now. Two Vidians dropped. A third stumbled when a soldier in clown shoes ran past, spraying foam from a jury-rigged extinguisher. The Mind Shield troops tried to regroup, but Kyle's squad kept up the barrage of nonsense. One private somersaulted in a tutu. Another recited limericks while lobbing grenades. "They're disoriented," Olivia reported from Horizon's command bridge. "They can't keep pace with the illogic." "It's working," Samuel whispered. Again. When the smoke cleared, the Vidians had retreated. Again. And the footage? It went viral within hours. Millions watched as Earth's defenders fought off invaders using slapstick, satire, and silly string. "We just turned warfare into a variety show," Paul Harris declared proudly. "And the Vidians can't change the channel." But Amelia Green remained cautious. "We're winning battles," she said, tapping a red icon on her tablet. "But they're not giving up. They're studying us, adapting. The next phase will be harder. We have to stay ahead." "We will," Samuel promised, "because if there's one thing humans do better than fight, it's mock." Operation Stand Up, laughter on the front lines. Preparations for Operation Stand Up escalated rapidly in the days following the victory at Pacific Ridge. Military bases across the world were transformed into hybrid training camps. Obstacle courses included banana peels and inflatable ducks. Soldiers drilled slapstick maneuvers between weapons exercises. Late-night show writers hosted seminars in barracks. On a sunny morning at Camp Hamilton, a former comedy club turned command post, Captain Samuel Wright stood watching a drill unfold. A platoon in full armor tried to perform a synchronized pratfall into sandbags while reciting dad jokes through external speakers. He watched, utterly straight-faced, arms crossed. "They're not funny yet," he muttered. Lieutenant Olivia Martinez approached from the side, helmet under her arm. "They will be. They're just getting used to laughing while holding an assault rifle. Takes balance." Samuel grunted, "The Vidians won't wait. We won't need them to." Later that evening, Dr. Amelia Green briefed the team, "Vidian mind shield units are being deployed faster. Our window for confusion is closing. But we have a new strategy, saturation. We bring the jokes in person. Multiple styles. Verbal, visual, slapstick, absurdism, even mime. Total overload." "You want to send mimes into battle?" Paul Harris asked, eyes wide. "They volunteered," she said seriously. "And they're terrifying." On the eve of deployment, General Hiro Yamada addressed the new strike teams from a stage painted like a vaudeville set. "Soldiers," he said, "your mission is to be as unpredictable as possible. Make them blink. Make them stutter. Make them doubt their own logic. Then strike. This is not a war of firepower anymore. It's a war of timing, rhythm, and punchlines." Cheers erupted. First target, Ashfall Basin, a massive mining zone the Vidians had fortified with drones and turrets. A standard assault would mean suicide. Operation Stand Up meant something different. Under the cover of darkness, a dozen squads infiltrated the outer perimeter. No shots fired. No alarms raised. Until the curtain dropped. Literally. A massive holographic curtain descended from two mobile projectors. It unfurled over the Vidian base and then opened. Spotlights flared. Music blared. And Sergeant Kyle Morris strolled onto the field dressed like a Victorian magician with a water gun. "Ladies and gentlemen, extraterrestrials of all ages," he bellowed, "prepare to be astonished." Vidian sensors immediately triggered alerts, but their targeting systems flickered. Their logic pathways stalled trying to classify the event. Kyle pulled a bouquet from his sleeve and fired glitter from a launcher hidden in his cane. From the flanks, his squad joined in. One rode a unicycle through the crossfire, juggling grenades with dummy fuses. Another performed cartwheels while trailing smoke bombs that changed color midair. Holographic projections added more chaos, giant inflatable ducks, dancing skeletons, and synchronized fart noises. Inside the control bunker, Vidian commanders shouted across layered frequencies. Their system logs were flooded with anomaly errors. Reaction time plummeted. Drones crashed midair trying to avoid rubber chickens. Then came the strike. Kyle dropped the act and raised his real weapon. Now. Comedy vanished. Precision returned. In 60 seconds, human squads took out the turrets and command core. The base fell. By dawn, Ashfall Basin was silent. At Horizon Command, Samuel watched the footage with arms crossed and a hint of a smile. "Upload the show to every military channel," he said. "And find me the next target." Amelia, watching data stream across her console, shook her head. "We're rewriting warfare." Paul Harris leaned back in his chair, arms behind his head, and we're killing it, one punchline at a time. But deep in Vidian space, a new command protocol activated. Zether stood before the Vidian High Core. "Humans have weaponized disorder," he reported. "And we cannot adapt fast enough." From the central throne, an ancient Vidian voice responded, "Then we will bring order, absolute and final." A final joke for the galaxy. 2 weeks after the capture of Ashfall Basin, the war changed. The Vidians stopped attacking. Their fleets pulled back. Their communication networks went dark. Orbital sensors showed a buildup of energy in the asteroid belt. A ship larger than anything humanity had ever seen was under construction. The High Core flagship. Inside the underground War Council chamber beneath Denver, the mood was somber. "We've provoked them into escalation," Dr. Amelia Green said. Their retreat wasn't surrender. It was preparation. Admiral Frank Simmons leaned forward. The high-core ship is a superweapon. The data suggests it can emit a pulse wave that would scramble all human neural activity. What, like a galaxy-wide brain slap? Paul Harris asked. Amelia didn't laugh. It would kill billions in minutes. How long until it's ready? Samuel asked. 5 days. Silence fell. Then Olivia spoke. We go in. Before they launch. We infiltrate. Take it down from the inside. Simmons nodded. A strike team. Small. Fast. Loud. Funny, Paul added. Samuel looked at his team, Paul, Olivia, Amelia, and Sofia Rodriguez, one ship. One shot. We end this with a final performance. Operation Curtain Call began. On day 4, the team launched aboard the stealth frigate, Stage Fright, cloaked by reflective polymer and electronic bafflers. They approached the high-core ship in silence. It was a monstrous structure, kilometers long, pulsing with violet energy and guarded by orbiting drones. Amelia guided them through its systems. Their comms are open inside. But heavily monitored. We'll need constant distraction. Paul cracked his knuckles. Then I guess it's showtime. They breached a maintenance corridor near the core. From there, chaos. Paul led the vanguard. Broadcasting live from a portable mic and personal projector, he delivered his tightest set yet. What do you call an alien who gets punched by humor? A VD. Another one bite the dust. Holograms danced behind him, penguins on jetpacks, gravity-defying pies, cats playing trumpets. Vidian guards collapsed mid-charge. Some fled. Some froze, locked in cognitive deadlock. Amelia and Olivia raced toward the control node. Shutdown sequence initiated, Amelia shouted. 20 seconds, Olivia replied. Outside, alarms howled. The high core activated the doomsday weapon. Energy surged. Violet storms rippled across its hull. Paul ran toward the central projector node and, without hesitation, uploaded Earth's complete comedy archive. Carlin. Chappelle. Lucy. Bean. Seinfeld. Keaton. Key and Peele. Nichols and May. Monty Python. Gallagher with his hammer. Billions of jokes compressed into one insane data bomb. This one's for Earth, Paul whispered. He pressed play. The ship trembled. The weapon powered up. Then. Collapsed. The Vidian's own logic network buckled. The high core entered recursive feedback, trying to comprehend every contradiction, every absurdity, every pun. Systems overloaded. Fire erupted in control rooms. Entire decks exploded from within. Samuel grabbed Paul and ran. Detonate the reactor manually, Olivia shouted. No time. Jump now. They barely made it back to the Stage Fright. Behind them, the high core ship bloomed into a violet nova, silently bursting into fractured oblivion. On Earth, crowds gathered to watch the sky. Cheers broke out. Laughter. Tears. The war was over. Weeks later, at the United Interstellar Council, a new treaty was signed. The Vidians, humbled and confused, agreed to peace. In the final clause, suggested by Paul Harris himself, a new rule was added. No species shall attempt conquest without first passing a basic humor competency test. In the quiet after, Samuel stood on the U.S.S. Horizon's bridge, looking out over a calm blue earth. Olivia stepped beside him. Think they'll ever try again? Maybe, he said. But next time, we'll be ready. With knock-knock jokes. Paul appeared in the doorway, holding a mic. Hey Samuel, knock-knock. Who's there? Galactic Peace. Galactic Peace who? Galactic Peace, at last. Everyone groaned. Everyone laughed. And the galaxy, for now, laughed with them. The end.